understand just fine, thank
Not
you.
yelling, sit down.
That's not a lawful order now.
Yes, it is. It's not a request. Sit down, go back.
Step off me and I'll consider it. Step off me and I'll consider it.
Consider it. Do it.
Step off me and I will sit down.
Don't you? Make up your mind.
Step off me and I'll consider it.
Go back. Let's go.
Do you see what's going on here, Your Honor? My rights are being violated left and right. They're not even showing me common decency and error. What the fuck?
Whitman, I see you got arrested. I need to go over your rights with you, okay? I want to explain the rights you're allowed to enter in this case. There's 3 pleas you can enter. You can enter plea of guilty, not guilty, and no contest, okay? Talk with me here, Mr. Whitman. I need to make sure you understand what we're doing.
I understand the basic kind of outline of it.
Alright, well I'll go through all that. I'll tell you what each one of those pleas means. If you were to enter a guilty plea, that admits your guilt to all the charges, we proceed to sentencing. If you enter a not guilty plea, that puts any one or all the elements in dispute. We've set your case for a trial. If you enter a no contest plea, that's not an admission of guilt, but it is an admission of the facts alleged to be true. I hear a report from the prosecutor, and if the facts fit the law, I could find you guilty on a no contest plea. The benefit of a no contest plea is it can't be used against you in a later civil or criminal matter. But more importantly, Mr. Whitman, you have the right to talk to an attorney. So before I even would ask you about whether you want to enter a plea or not, if you wish to speak to an attorney, I'll make sure that one gets appointed so you have someone you can talk to and counsel with, okay? You understand that?
I do. I have a question for the court. My public attorneys have made it clear to me that they do not get paid enough to actually spend enough time with me to adequately represent me. They just give me a basic, you have a winning, losing case, and then they send me out. So
Well,
I'm not getting fair representation.
I don't think you are either, Mr. Whitman, I don't think you are either. If your attorney's telling you that, I don't think that's fair, and I wouldn't be comfortable having an attorney that told me that either. I'm gonna give you a different attorney, okay?
And I'm also being harassed by the police officer.
Mr. Whitman, let's not get into the facts of the case. I'm gonna give you an attorney, and you talk to the attorney about that, okay?
Another public defender?
Do you wanna hire your own?
What is this gonna do me?
Do you wanna hire your own
They're
attorney?
telling me they don't get paid enough. They showed me the hours and everything, and they don't care about me. They just care about doing their job, which I respect, but they're not able to spend enough time on me to make a good case.
Mr. Whitman, if the attorney told you he does get paid enough to spend time with you, I'm gonna give you a different attorney, okay?
How about we give my attorney more money?
Well, your attorney gets paid very good money to represent you. You have an attorney that doesn't want to do that work, it sounds like.
Well, he's just talking about how much he gets paid or doesn't get paid.
Okay. Would you like a different attorney?
No, I want you to give my attorney enough money to make it worth his while to represent me to the best of his ability and to the constitutional support that I should have.
Then I'll
The
keep that
dignity
attorney.
that comes with.
Mr. Whitman, I'll keep that attorney on, and there's a procedure that if he has earned all the fees that he's allowed to on the case, he can move this court for extra fees. And I'll consider that if he makes that request. So you can let your attorney know the court has already considered, if he goes to do extraordinary fees, I will consider it, okay?
Okay.
Now, you have rights in this case to go to trial. If you go to trial, you can subpoena witnesses that would help you. If there's somebody that would help your case that does not want to come to court, you and your attorney can ask the court to subpoena that person, we can bring them in here. Kicking and screaming if we have to testify on your behalf. You have that power. You also have the power to cross-examine any witnesses. If somebody says you did something wrong, you and your attorney get to ask him questions to see whether that story is believable. The state has to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt at trial, that's a high standard, and you can't be forced to testify, and no one could comment if you chose not to testify at trial. So if you're gonna have an attorney, we don't need to worry about giving up those rights by entering a plea. We'll just do a not guilty plea on your behalf and see that you get an attorney on these matters. There are 3 charges that are filed right now against you on this new case. Count 1 says on April 24, 2017 in Holmes County, Ohio, You did recklessly cause inconvenience, annoyance, or alarm to another by creating a condition that's physically offensive to persons or that presents a risk of physical harm to persons or property by an act that serves no lawful and reasonable purpose. This is a violation of 2917.11A5 of the Ohio Revised Code. It's called disorderly conduct. It's a minor misdemeanor, maximum $150 fine. Second charge alleges on the same date and time in Holmes County, you did cause the evacuation of any public place or otherwise cause serious public inconvenience or alarm by committing any offense with reckless disregard of the likelihood that its commission will cause serious public inconvenience or alarm. That is referred to as inducing panic. It's a misdemeanor of the first degree in violation of 2917.31A3 of the Ohio Revised Code. It does allow for up to 6 months of jail and a $1,000 fine. That doesn't mean that's what you're getting, that's just the maximum penalty that charge allows. Third complaint alleges on or about April 24th in Holmes County, Ohio, you did without privilege to do so recklessly enter or remain on the land or premises of another as to which notice against unauthorized access or presence is given by actual communication to the offender or in a manner prescribed by law, or by posting in a manner reasonably calculated to come to the attention of potential intruders, or by fencing or other enclosure manifestly designed to restrict access. This is commonly referred to as criminal trespass. It's in violation of 2911.21A3 of the Ohio Revised Code. It's a misdemeanor of the fourth degree. That allows for up to 30 days in jail and a $250 fine. Do you understand those three charges, Mr. Whitman? Not whether you agree with them or not, but you understand what you're charging.
Vaguely.
Okay, is there something you'd like me to go over again on those?
I was informed I was arrested for violating my no contact order, which has nothing to do with any of those charges. It also shows some more suspicion onto, improper police wrangling, system manipulation.
Well, I'm not aware of violation of no contact. These are the charges that have been filed in this court. So these are the three that
Well,
we're
the
dealing
two
with.
arrested police officers with their body cams on told me I was being arrested for violating my no contact order. I want that shit on record. They're out to get me and they're trying to get me, using you guys.
Well, I'll tell you, no one's gonna use me to get you. They're gonna have to provide proof in this court, either to me or to a jury, before you'll be convicted of anything. And your attorney ought to ask for a copy of that tape if you think it's important, okay?
Okay,
Good.
I'm asking for a OR bond if it's possible.
Well, we're gonna get to that in a minute. Right now, I'm gonna appoint Attorney Steve Daly. He's the one that's representing you before. We'll bring him in on this case. There is a $25 fee I have to assess to assign court-appointed counsel. Does your other matter have a court date right now?
I believe it's the 9th.
For a pretrial on the 9th at 10:30 as well? Mr. Music, does the state have a position on bond?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's requesting a $10,000 bond, but also no contact with the individuals listed in the protective order, and also that Mr. Whitman is not allowed to have any deadly weapons. The reason for that being that he was on the property of the courthouse. He was observed by many people around downtown Millersburg. He had a knife on him at one point. He went later on to Dollar General to buy another knife after he left that knife behind, and it was found and returned
That was stolen by the police.
We'll deal with that, Mr. Whitman. I don't care where the knife is right now. We're just looking at factors for bond. Mr. Music, the bond recommendation from the prosecutor's office said no contact with persons listed in protection order.
I'm sorry, Your
Bond
Honor.
recommendation says no contact with persons listed in the protection order. The state is requesting the bond be set at $10,000, cash surety or a 10% appearance bond, which would allow you to post $1,000 to get out. Do you have any information for me to consider on bond?
Yeah, I absolutely can't pay none of that bond. Way too excessive for a man with no income whatsoever. And the Constitution has a law that protects me against excessive bail, and I have no money to my name whatsoever. So even $100 is posting excessive bail at this point.
Mr. Music,
I have demonstrated to the police officer that I am well informed of my rights. lights, and they do not like it because it allows me to walk around the sidewalk with a butcher knife in my hand and holding up signs saying that they're bad cops. That's why I'm here, because I've been protesting in my own ways, trying to draw attention to some bad stuff, and they're trying to take me down for it. The cameras will show that I am articulating myself very properly for a man who don't show experience in explaining the law,
Do you know?
and that I am able to control myself, and I am not a danger to myself or others.
That seems to be the case, Your Honor. So what he's being charged with now is other than the civil protection order.
Okay, Mr. Whitman, I'm gonna set the bond at $10,000 cash or surety. I will allow a 10% posting. If somebody can post that for you and you get out, there will be a condition of bond. You have no contact with Stacy Whitman, Corbin Martin, or Jared Whitman if you do bond out. If you do not bond out, we'll get an attorney to see you right away. We'll discuss that at the next hearing, whether bond needs to be modified. Hopefully you can bond out.
Your Honor, does the Constitution protect me against excessive bail?
Yes.
I have no income whatsoever. How am I supposed to pay $1,000 with no income?
Your Honor, we would also request that he have no contact with the BP that's across the street from the courthouse, because apparently he was on their premises as well.
That's the basis for criminal trespass, correct?
Yes.
Which was also public property, and there was no official statement saying that I was not allowed on their property.
I don't know, Mr. Whitman, what happened. I don't have any of the facts of the police reports, but the criminal trespass charge indicates that you were somewhere told not to come back, and you did. I believe that's the basis of the charge. Assuming that's the BP station, then would be
It was an
consistent.
unlawful order given by the police.
But what I've done is I've added that there'd be no contact with BP station as well if you bond out.
Okay.
Just while the matter's
No
pending,
problem.
Mr. Whitman, okay? All right, we're gonna set this for May 9th, 2017 at 9:30. That's the same date and time as your other case.